Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time. If you're on YouTube, you can see I am near York at Castle Howard, which is a really awesome place, and Troy is in San Francisco, as you can see, right? Well, yes, I am not in York. Troy is not in San Francisco. We are on Zoom, and we are doing it from remote locations. And so hopefully this turns out, hopefully this podcast, YouTube, looks really good. You guys can hear us really good. We're excited to be with you guys here today. We'll be doing next week's from a remote location as well. So let's hope this works out well. If not, we'll figure something else out. Today, we're going to be talking about do it like Warren did, right? Warren, like Warren G, right? The rapper, do it like Warren G did, right? No, I don't mean Warren G. But although he was a very successful entrepreneur, right? Rapper, Warren Buffett. So today we want to talk about patterning your business off of people who have already had success. And there are three key things that Warren Buffett did every time he started a new venture or he was researching moving forward in a certain direction. And they're really good things. In fact, some of it you're going to be like, hey, you've said that before. It's because we know what we're talking about. If Warren Buffett, the billionaire, is doing it, and we're telling you to do it, I guess we know what we're talking about, right? So Troy, why don't we jump right into these three things that every business owner should be doing when building their business, moving forward, taking new ventures, all those things.
All right. So the first strategy we're going to be talking about today is to be methodical in your business decisions. And this is really important. So, people are going to tell you that business moves at like the speed of light. And now, and that you need to make quick decisions. But that's not the formula for success, right? Yes. Does business move very fast? Yes, it does. But should you be making snap decisions that are going to affect the future of your business without, going through a process and making sure that you're doing the right thing? No, you definitely should not. So you need to be methodical with your business and with your business decisions. You need to have a process that you go through every single time so that you make great decisions. And again, that's going to go contrary to what some other people are going to tell you. Other people are going to tell you like, oh, make a decision and fail fast. And then you can make another decision and then fail fast. Well, guess what? You can only fail so many times before you go out of business, right? So again, we want to pattern ourselves after people that are very successful. Warren Buffett is one of the richest people in the world, one of the most successful people in the world. So one of the things he always does is he's very methodical about making those decisions. He doesn't make decisions too quickly. The second strategy is that success takes time. And this kind of goes along with that first one. Not just about making decisions, but understanding in your business that success is going to take time. Nobody became successful overnight, right? Yeah. Nobody who has long-term success became successful overnight. And this is pretty controversial because, again, society is going to tell you that, people are just like overnight millionaires and billionaires and blah, 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 blah. But Trevor, how many people do you know that are super wealthy that created their wealth overnight?
Zero. Absolutely zero. In fact, the funny thing is most people in the real world, yes, there is always that oddity, right? That anomaly. But most people in the real world who have made it very successful, they failed many times, like you talked about in the previous section, right? They started a business, they found success, then they failed and they actually lost that, or they had to start all over. And so you'll see a pattern with all of these people that it's taken a long time for them to find success. Take us, for instance, we have literally done millions and millions of dollars. We have helped our businesses find hundreds in success, right? We've been doing this this wasn't something that I know that Instagram and social media and all this stuff, these outlets make it seem like we blew up or this person blew up or whatever that is. And that's just not the case. It's slow and steady and being consistent and being strategic and methodical in our business decisions and taking the time to realize we're not going away tomorrow. We're not going to disappear tomorrow and we're not going to blow up tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, there's a Buffett has been quoted as saying that he spent the best years of his young life working his way, to being the success he is today.
Right.
That there is no elevator to the top floor to be successful. You got to take the stairs, you got to put the work in. And by understanding that in your business, you're going to make the right business decisions that are going to be long-term, right? Because you're not going to make that decision of like, oh, if I just do this, then boom, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's not how it happens. So that was his second strategy. Third strategy is, and you guys are going to be like, oh, you guys always talk about this. But again, we're looking at some of the most successful people in the world. And the third strategy, according to Warren Buffett, is rely on the numbers.
Numbers? What? I've never heard that before.
Exactly. So Warren has been known to say that he does not rely on opinions or stories. He always focuses on the numbers to make his decision. And I remember back reading an article about Warren Buffett back in the day, and it was interesting. And he had recently done an investment in railroads, like the railway system and railroad companies. And people are like, psh, railroads? Like, I mean, what are you talking, 1800s here? But he was looking at the numbers. He was, focusing on what he thought was going to happen in the future. And when it came to transportation, and the numbers showed that if prices in gas went up, that the railways would be the most economical way to transport goods across the country.
Awesome.
And guess what happened? Prices went up on oil, gas became super expensive, and now all these semi trucks that are driving around were becoming unprofitable, right? To be shipping all of these things. It got very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So he made a ton of money off of the railroads, investing in the railroad companies.
See, and that's the thing. What I love about numbers, Troy, is that it's not emotional. Yes. There's no emotion that comes with numbers. And when we put emotion into our business, it's good to be passionate, right, about your business. But when you put emotion into your business, you're making decisions off of emotions. You're not always making logical decisions. And so I always say the numbers don't lie. In fact, I've got a story. We had a client who the phone rings. I pick up the phone and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I said, What's going on? He's like, "Well, like the phones aren't ringing. Nothing's happening." And I said, "What do you mean the phones aren't ringing?" He's like, "Well, I've been back in my office and the front desk gals, I don't think I've heard them on the phone very often today or this week." And I says, "Oh, really? Okay, well, let's just pull out the numbers. Here's the numbers that I send you each month." And so I said, "So let's look at these numbers." And I'm like, "Okay, so far you guys have had 22 phone calls today, just today, and you've had 5 form fills today. So if your gals aren't on the phone, then you need to go talk to them because they're not answering the phone and they're not calling back these people that are filling out forms, because that's plenty of phone calls in one day." And it was like, 65 phone calls so far for the month. And it was just like, but he was going off of emotion and he was reacting out of emotion too. Who knows what was going on at that moment in his business, in his life. Maybe he's texting with his wife, right? We all, or his kids or something like that. And something is happening in his life and he's being emotional. And all of a sudden he just realizes, "Oh, it sounds quiet in the office. I haven't heard anybody on the phones lately." And so he's calling me out of emotion and running on his emotions. And, it's way off base. And that's what I love about numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do. People lie, but numbers don't.
Exactly. And that's really the key. So that's why if you consistently rely on your numbers, you're going to consistently make good decisions in your business. And that's how you become successful long term. All right. So homework. What's the homework this week, Trevor?
Homework today is a little bit different. This is an ongoing situation with this homework. Today's homework and moving forward for the rest of you being in business for life is to work on removing emotion from your business. I'm not saying don't be passionate about it. I'm not saying don't work like crazy and think over it and mull over it and contemplate it, right? Do that. But remove emotion, because when you're making decisions out of emotions, right? A lot of times we're reacting to a situation or something like that. We're not making smart decisions. So from today on, let's start working on removing that emotion from our business decisions, get more methodical with it, get strategies going, and then always rely on the numbers. And that's it for me.
All right. That is great advice and great homework. I know all of us can do that, because it can be so hard to, not make that snap decision based on emotion, and to actually sit back, wait, and get the emotion out of it and make that decision that's going to be the right decision for the business, not the emotional one. So awesome. Well, that's it for me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for spending another little bit of your time on Tuesday on SoTellUs Time with us. As always, please comment, share, like, get this out to the world, and let's keep growing our businesses together. We'll see you guys next week on another SoTellUs Time.